And we weren't there. Now, we know that, remember Watson and Crick?
Yeah.
Remember what Crick had to say? Remember what Crick had to say? Remember, these are the guys who formed the DNA double helix. Remember what he said? What caused the origin of the universe? Panspermia, which is aliens. No, guys. Watson and Crick. Go look it up for yourself. Crick, right? The guy who literally founded the DNA double helix said to himself, there is no way that the chance of all this happening by some naturalistic purpose is ridiculous. Even this guy realized, okay, hold on a second, as Einstein did, that it had to be a start and that this couldn't have happened by naturalistic purposes. So he said, you know what? Instead of believing in God, I'm going to believe in aliens. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I respect his opinion. But I guess at the end of the day, the question is, okay, then what are those aliens telling us to do? And how are those aliens answering those questions we asked before? The 5 most consequential questions, which are?
Where do we come from?
Why are we here? What are we here to do? Where are we going? Where do we come from? And what? How should we live? Science cannot answer those questions. They can't. So, the challenge for us today, guys, is as we take this one step at a time, we can't sit here and straight up answer all these questions in one day. But let's review a little bit of what we talked about. Truth about reality is knowable. Do we agree? Mm-hmm. Okay. The opposite of true is false. Yeah. Do we agree? Okay. No, you gotta understand. Because if there's no truth, there is no false. Yeah. Right. Which means that everything's acceptable. Like I was giving this example to someone the other day. I was like, you know what? Hey, since there's no truth, I can punch you in your face. And you can't say I'm wrong. Right? Because there's no truth. And the laws that we have are subjective anyway, just like the laws that said that black people were degenerate. And that there are 2/3 of a human, or whatever, 5/6 of a human, whatever they want to call it. Because truth can't be based on society. Can't be based on you. Because we're subjective and deceived in and of ourselves. Right? See, these are the things we've got to ask ourselves. So then, closing out here, if we see that as the beginning of the universe, would you say that there's a beginning? Based on what we looked at today? Obviously. Right? So then the question is from that, because the whole goal is we're trying to figure out, does this theistic God exist? Well, this would be evidenced by the beginning of the universe, in the fact that order leads to disorder. Disorder does not lead to order. Matter doesn't spontaneously come into being. Right? We understand that from the thermodynamics. Now, next week we're going to take a look at design. Look at fine-tuning of the universe. And we're going to see, again, miracles upon miracles. How did this happen? Because really, when you talk to scientists, the truth of it is that the beginning of the universe is a miracle. They don't say it in those words. But it has to be. Because there is no explanation for it otherwise. The universe started by energy. Okay, so where did the energy come from? Who created the energy? Doesn't make sense. Not to mention that to make life, which we're going to get into next week, required 2 different atmospheres that couldn't coexist in the same area. That's even when we get into that, that's even crazier. So we're saying that from non-life produce life, which produced highly developed life. Just like what we talked in the beginning, that Bugatti car. Isn't that awesome? 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. Maybe, if we stare at the ground long enough, we'll see the Bugatti eventually appear.
It's mine.
Before us.
Shani.
But no, seriously, because, I mean, obviously, where is the energy? We have a lot of energy around us even right now. Yeah. Because think about it. If all this stuff started by energy, we have a lot of energy around us right now. Yeah.
Crickets, crickets.
I think I see something.
But no, what's really interesting is that this magic element is time. Somehow, no, this is somehow over a gazillion years, time enabled this to begin. But that is, you gotta understand, that is the reasoning that many give today.
Yeah, that's true.
Over time, all this will happen. Okay, that means that over time, that table will start talking to me. Just takes time.
Don't wait for it, bro.
Now, but I thought that, with entropy increasing, that table would break down. Wouldn't it?
It will.
So then maybe it'll break down into something more highly developed. Does that make sense?
A desk. A bookshelf.
See, guys, the challenge we have today is, once we understand that the beginning of the universe could not be by purely naturalistic purpose, or let me be more objective, that the evidence for the beginning of the universe seems to implicate that this could not purely be by naturalistic purposes. That you would need more faith to believe that non-life produced life. Then the next step is the design. How finely tuned we are. And that's what we're going to take a look at next week. And then the following week, we're going to look at the moral law and break down exactly this moral law that God puts on I believe God puts on our hearts, so that we can truly understand what it means to get to know God and to make Him know. Amen? And that's the last one tonight. I saw a couple hands. Let's start, yes, in the back.
Yes, I have a lot of things to say, but I just need a few minutes. I don't know if everybody will agree. I have a PhD in astrophysics and cosmology, so I think I'm able to speak about that.
Please.
Can I go?
Well, take a little time, sure.
It's up to them.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
First of all, I really appreciate you explaining all those concepts. Very hard for me to understand, but definitely made them very concise and clear. I have a question about your number one here on the top. So if everything had a beginning and a cause, right, and the universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause, is the beginning subject to the first law you have written up there, law of causality?
So you're saying, does the beginning have a beginning?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm asking,
That's the question.
is it subject to the same laws that everything else is subject to?
Well, if the beginning would have a beginning, then it couldn't be a beginning.
Correct. So is it subject to the law of every causality like everything else?
Well, no, because it has to be a beginning. Let's take a look at let's answer. You want to take a try at that?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Everybody knows that at the Big Bang, space and time was created, right?
We talked about.
Now, causality implies that there is time, right? Because if something happens, then something must happen before that. So there was time. Asking if, what created the Big Bang, it's such a relevant question. It's like asking, where is north when you are in the North Pole?
Yeah.
So that question is bad proposed. It doesn't make sense to ask who created the Big Bang or what was before the Big Bang. That kind of question it's a paradox.
Well, how would it be a paradox?
Because to say what was before the Big Bang or how something what caused the Big Bang, then you're implying that there was time before the Big Bang.